Now, the Brooks Ghost and the Saucony Ride are two very popular neutral daily trainers here in the UK. They're also two running shoes that have just gone through some pretty big updates. So with the Ghost getting the deeply cushioned version, the Ghost Max, and the Ride 17 having a complete midsole overhaul, and it now comes with a full PWRRUN Plus foam midsole setup. When I took these shoes out for their first run, I really enjoyed the fit and the performance of both, but since then I've got some good miles in the shoes. So let's dive into this head-to-head video and find out which shoe comes out on top. Welcome back, folks. Thanks for joining us for another video. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas full of festive cheer and a happy new year. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So it already looks like 2024 is going to be a super busy year when it comes to testing out running shoes and running kit, and we've already got some exciting new kit arriving at Run4Adventure HQ, including this new Salomon road shoe, the Index 03. So a really interesting shoe this. So it actually comes with this little postcard with a QR code on the back. Once you're finished with the shoe, once it's done its mileage, scan that code, Salomon arrange pickup, it gets sent off, and then this shoe gets completely broken down and recycled. I believe they use the end material in the outer casing of the Salomon ski boot. So a really interesting concept, and I think it's a pretty cool looking shoe, and we're going to be taking these out for their first run very soon. But let's get back to today's shoes in question. So we have the Ghost Max from Brooks, and we've got Saucony's new Ride 17. So when it comes down to price, the new Ride, the latest version, retails for £135 here in the UK, whereas the Ghost is a little bit more expensive at £140. But you can see there's really not a lot in it, but I suppose that does make the Ride a little bit more affordable. So the first point has to go to these when it comes down to price. Next up is upper fit and performance, and this is a real close call because both uppers have actually worked really well for my foot shape, giving me really good lockdown around the midfoot, good hold in the heel, and they've just both been extremely comfortable to run in. No rubbing, no chafing, no blisters in either shoe. I've got to say, I think the Saucony upper is a little bit more stripped back, slightly lighter, and it does feel a little bit more breathable because we've got these large perforations sort of wrapping around the midfoot, but it really would be splitting hairs because, like I said, I've actually enjoyed the uppers on both shoes. So I'm actually going to call it a tie for upper performance, and we're going to give a point to each shoe because I've really enjoyed the fit, the feel, and the performance of both uppers. Working our way down to the midsole setup, and with the Ghost being the max version of the shoe, you do get a little bit more cushioning underfoot. So we've got a stack height of 39mm on the heel and 33mm under the forefoot, and that's compared to the 35-27mm setup you get on the Saucony Ride. However, I do find this DNA Loft V2 foam a little bit firmer when you compare it to the slightly bouncier PWRRUN Plus foam you get in the Saucony Ride 17. Don't get me wrong, this is still a very comfortable shoe to run in, but I do feel that the Rides gave me a little bit more energy return while I was out there on the hard stuff. As far as heel offset goes, we've got a 6mm drop on the Ghost Max, which I personally think is a really good move by the brand because a lot of their shoes do utilise a 10mm or even a 12mm offset, which personally for me is a little bit too high. So the 6mm on the Ghost Max has been great for me. The Ride 17 comes with a slightly higher 8mm offset, but there really isn't a lot in it between the two shoes, and I haven't had any issues with heel height at all. But when it comes down to the point for midsole performance, I'm going to have to give it to the Ride 17. I think this PWRRUN Plus midsole setup just feels a little bit more lively, a little bit more exciting to run with, but I also think it makes this shoe a little bit more versatile when it comes to a daily trainer option, because you could definitely use this for a couple of your quicker sessions throughout the week. Both outsoles have performed really well out there on the roads of Cornwall, and we have had some pretty wet and miserable weather of late here in the UK, and in fact I don't think I've actually worn either of these shoes on a dry run yet. Every run has been on wet, greasy, slippery roads or pavements, and both the rubber outsoles have performed really well when it comes down to grip. If I take a closer look at the rubber compound, maybe there is a little bit more wear on the Brooks shoe, but it's, there's nothing in it. They both perform well. So I actually think the Brooks rubber and the Saucony rubber are going to give you good levels of grip and durability. So it is another tie when it comes down to outsole performance, and we're going to give a point to each shoe. So if I pull up the scores for upper fit and feel, midsole performance and outsole grip and durability, you can see that the Saucony Ride for me takes top spot. I really do like the fact that it feels a little bit lighter, and like I mentioned earlier in the review, that midsole just feels a bit more responsive and a bit more exciting to run in. So I'd have no issues using these for the odd sort of tempo or interval session throughout the week, whereas I do see the Brooks Ghost Max as a bit more of a one-trick pony. However, it does do that one trick well, so I was actually surprised how this shoe performed and how much I enjoyed running in it. So the upper worked really well for my foot shape, and that DNA Loft V2 foam, even though it is a little bit firmer than the more bouncy sort of PWRRUN Plus you get in the Ride, it still felt nice and comfortable underfoot on those longer, slower efforts, and that's kind of what Brooks designed this shoe for. I still think it makes a solid daily trainer, especially for maybe those slightly heavier runners. You've got that slightly firmer compound in the midsole, you've got a nice wide platform to run off, and you are just sunk down into that midsole a little bit. So it does feel like a very planted, stable, neutral trainer. So there you have it, folks. The Ride 17s from Saucony wins today's head-to-head video and takes my top spot. But this comparison video has definitely been a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. And what do you prefer? Are you a big Brooks fan, or do you prefer Saucony running shoes? Or even better still, have you run some miles in both models? Let us know how the shoes have performed and which one you prefer. So get in the comments below and let us know all about it. If you're new to the channel, then you might not realise I'm just about to reach the end of my training block for the first big race of 2024, which is going to be the awesome Mud Crew Arc of Attrition. Now this is a very challenging 100-mile foot race on the coast paths of Cornwall, so familiar ground for me, that's for sure, but a real challenging route. You can get some very interesting weather and underfoot conditions, that's for sure. So I'm actually making a short series where we're going to follow my progression all the way through training to race day. So if you'd like to follow along, I've left links below for the 3 episodes that have already been uploaded on the channel, in case you want to follow that journey all the way to the Arc of Attrition race. Really hope you've enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. Don't forget, if you have, to like, comment, share and subscribe. And you can also follow us on our other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, Facebook or Strava. But for now, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it really is appreciated. We'll be back here very soon, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. Sort of slippy, wet, greasy roads or pavements, and both outsoles have performed really well out there on the roads of Cornwall, and I don't think I've actually run either of these shoes in dry conditions yet, and in fact every run has been on sort of wet, slippery, greasy roads or pavement, and both the rubbers both outsoles have performed really well down here on the roads of Cornwall, and we have been having some pretty terrible, wet, miserable weather of late. And in fact, I don't think I've actually done a wet, no, not a wet. I've done lots of wet runs. I haven't done any dry runs.